almost there. No way. What is this? You're tuned in to the Eyes Open podcast, where secrets aren't safe and we see it all.
Testing. Isn't that how this all started before in 2020? Was the testing. See, I remember when everything jumped off back in 2020. I remember talking to somebody and I told him, I said, you know, the fear is going to spread based off of the testing. And I said the fear will stop when the testing stops. And people kind of thought, you know, they're like, oh, well, you know, we got to know what's going on with this, you know, so we have to, you know, have testing. And I, in a sense, was saying, no, I honestly believe, based off of the person who actually invented it, I believe it was, Kelly Mullins? Somebody will have to correct me on that. But I know his first name's Kelly, and was a very smart guy, and he couldn't stand Fauci, couldn't stand him. He said that if PCR used in the wrong way, the testing used in the wrong way, can find anything in anyone, that it was not to be used to detect clinical infection of any sort in anyone. And this is the guy who was one of the top guys who invented it. So if he's telling you that, the person who invented it, then why are they using that as a means to tell you what is going on? And the crazy part is, if I'm going to give you guys a rundown of what I really think is going on here. And that's why today's episode's title, Fears in the Air, is so fitting. Because when you really understand, I would say, the human psyche in general, a lot of stuff starts to make sense. The way politicians move, the way the media does, the way things are worded, it all starts to open up and make sense. Because they used to get me with a lot of it back in the day. They really did. I used to buy into a lot of the stuff. And I'm going to be open about this. See, they're probably not going to pull anything I do now down. But when the Big C event happened in 2020, and I was reporting on it on Facebook, on YouTube, on everywhere else, they were pulling all my videos down. The only place those videos can still be found is on Rumble, because one of them was called the Depop Agenda. So like I said, you have to understand the human psyche to understand what is being perpetrated in general. And like I'd said, if I use certain terms and I say, like, I'm going to say the E-ball, okay, when I'm speaking about what's going on over in what's it again? Got a brain fart there for a second. What's happening over in Africa with, we'll just leave it there, okay? Or in the Congo. Because I want to be, like I said, I want to be careful here, because they won't just pull it down. Nowadays, I believe, see, when I didn't have a voice at all and nobody was really listening to the show, they could pull stuff down and, you know, there wouldn't be anything about it. But now that the shows actually went somewhere, it's too obvious for them to just yank something down. Because then you're like, okay, now I'm being censored. Not that they don't do it, because I'm noticing on YouTube, they're hitting me with stupid copyright strikes on stuff that they shouldn't, because it's technically fair use. So they do a lot of things to try to suppress what I'm putting out there. But that doesn't mean I'm still not going to, that I haven't caught on to the little charade game that they play and what you can say and what you can't say. Now, I've always said, which this is what should be labeled as free speech and protected speech, and is not breaking any rules on any platforms. Nothing on this show that I say am I claiming as fact. This is nothing but, being inquisitive. That's what the whole show's about. It's asking questions. And nowadays, asking questions has become a crime. The reason being is when you're asking questions, you're not falling in line with what they want you to fall in line with. Believe this. Trust the science. All of the terms that they put out there. They want you to 100% trust in what they're telling you. So, for example, I find it convenient that they had everybody worrying about this whole cruise ship situation, what was going on. Now, all of a sudden, nobody's talking about that. They're supposed to be monitoring that. Now, it's all about what's going on over in Africa. And honestly, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys what I believe is going on, okay? They're going to try their best. It's one of the reasons why the Zuckman, everybody from Elon to all of them have all of their places ready. I think it's one of the reasons why they're showing, if you guys haven't seen recently, the guy they're saying was on Fox that looked like he was wearing a mask. I seen, what's his name over there? That's the head of the IS over there in the promised land. We'll say that way because I don't want to start mentioning certain words again. And it's really ridiculous. I wish I could talk, freely. And maybe one day when I'm up there high enough on my own website, I can finally say every word I want to say and don't have to worry about getting throttled. But for the time being, there's only certain words I can use. But I really believe, this is my opinion, what's going on is, a lot of this is fear-based because the human brain operates in a certain way when it's stuck in a fight or flight type of mode. When that fear mechanism is turned on constantly, it keeps you in a certain type of state, and they love to keep you in that certain type of state. And it's not healthy. Honestly, I know my grandfather lived to be almost 100 years old and was perfectly fine health and everything. And what he told me is, when I asked him, I said, what's the secret to living long, that in your opinion? And he did eat well, never ate out. That's what's wild is, believe it or not, you won't believe, my grandfather, okay, born in 1903. So for me being about to turn 40 years old, I come from some old school people. My grandfather was born in 1903. He lived through the 2018 pandemic. I remember him telling me stories. He was like 15 years old. He said that they couldn't bury people fast enough, that there was literally bodies piled up in the streets. So to hear about a actual pandemic happening when it did was pretty interesting to hear about what had happened back in 1918. Now, they in a sense had the same type of thing where people were fighting back against it. But then there's theories about that. They're saying that's when they were really heightening radio waves. So this all definitely does come back to frequencies too. And that's just my belief. Okay. I don't know about 1918, but I know about now. There's theories that 2020 is when they were rolling out 5G and frequencies and stuff like that had a lot to do with it. So it just depends on the way you look at it and what you think. Me personally, based off the research I've done and based off what they were making people get, okay, I believe that with these metals, nanoparticles stuff, they're going to flick a switch, or they already have in certain areas. Maybe it can target, the frequencies can be targeted. If that happens, people are going to see symptoms that are going to make them think it's the E-ball, and that's going to freak everybody out. I mean, why would it not? If people are piling up, there's going to be the people that say, oh yeah, like they're going to believe what I'm saying and say, oh, it's nothing to worry about. I didn't get that thing, so I don't have to worry about it. But on the other hand, who knows if it's only limited to that? There's so much stuff that's sprayed in the atmosphere nowadays. You got smart dust, you got all this crap. So how do we know that maybe that's what it is? Maybe they're all going to go to where they want to go, into those bunkers, and flick a switch. And that's how they're going to be it. I mean, everything that the world has been going towards, to be honest with you, is just strange. Like Elon's making all these bots, millions and millions of bots, all the chips. That's why the metals has been booming. The demand for metals is because they're using that as conductors for these types of things, for electricity conductors. And data centers are going up like crazy. What do you think those are going to be used for? Data centers will be the AI that runs these robots and these different things. So do I think something definitely very alarming could possibly happen? Yeah, absolutely. But do I believe it's going to be what they say it is? I don't think so, personally. Because the reason being I say this is because when it comes to actual viral things, okay, not like the internet, but you get what I'm saying. The research that they've done behind these things is when things mutate and take over, there's sometimes no stopping it, okay? You can't put guardrails on that. So even if they had something they could take and not have to worry about it and just let it take over everybody else, it could still, it's like opening Pandora's box that they might not be able to close. So I don't think they want to open Pandora's box like that and potentially put their own selves in harm's way. I believe that essentially it's more of a frequency-based type of operation that will be going on. And that's just my opinion. And what's wild is these people that you have that now they have the frequencies, if you guys haven't heard about this, it's like direct to skull. There's a lot of conspiracy people that talk about it, which is where they can put something directly into your head to make you either unalive yourself, your family, whatever they want. Like they actually have the technology to do these things. And, you know, I believe that there definitely is frequencies affecting us every day. I honestly believe that, you know, I've been targeted myself. And the way I would tell you is some people will say, well, what does that look like, you know, to be targeted by frequencies? And what I see that is you just don't feel right. And some days you feel really like it's almost like a sick, but you're not sick. And it's very weird because, you know, I've had this where every type of ailment you can name, you know, I went to the doctor and said, yeah, you know, I feel kind of like sick, but you're not sick, and you feel like it's something. It's not like a cold. It's very hard to put into words and explain. But yeah, blood work done, everything possible, even down to I've gotten whole body scans. All right, lungs, heart. They put the dye in me to even see what was going on. Nothing wrong. Everything functioning 100% great. That's honestly what got me to quit smoking cigarettes. A little while back was when I found out I was in perfect health. They're like, oh yeah, you're in perfect health, your lungs, everything. I was like, man, I smoked for so long. I was like, I'm giving it up. I'm walking away from it. I'm gonna, you know, the best medicine I believe is just taking care of yourself. So I was like, you know, that's the best health insurance you could ever have, is to just take care of yourself. But people have to understand, taking care of yourself, one of the biggest things I'm telling you is, that's what I was saying. That's what, you know, to get back to what I was saying about my grandfather. He said he really did not care about nothing. He really, truly did not. He was one of those guys, you couldn't really get him to care too much. Like, he just kind of lived his life, did his thing, and he didn't let stuff get to him. He was one of those, you know, get out of here with that. That's the type of guy he was. And I think as people, we need to come together and not allow what's going on in the world to affect us. Because the second you turn that TV off, or you turn that news off, or you shut that station off and stop listening to it, it all goes away. During 2020, I proved that. It was the summer of 2020 is when I decided, and I remember what the catalyst was that did it for me. The catalyst that did it for me was when I seen the whole George Floyd stuff going on and people running around in the streets, and they were saying, oh, these people out there aren't spreading it, but the people at Trump rallies are. That's what did it for me. That's when I was like, nope, I'm done. Your science makes no sense. I'm not listening to you people no more. This is completely ridiculous. And then that's when I went, boop, shut the TV off, and I was done. I was like, I'm not doing it no more. I'm not playing into this charade. I'm not, you guys can keep the fear corn to yourself. I'm not feeding into it no more. And that's essentially what I believe is that part of your brain that regulates that response. They're going to trigger it hard. And I even showed in a video, if you guys watch the reel, and I'm sure, if you guys are watching the show, you watched the reel I did, where I said, watch out for those green colors, okay? That is, I'm telling you, what I've researched on that, and this goes way back. This goes back to the original e-ball situation that happened in like 2015 when Obama was still in office. So pretty much what happened was, like, I had seen the whole situation for what it was. So in a sense, I was like, I know what they're actually trying to trigger with people. And see, the biggest thing too is, I don't want to go off topic here too much, but a big thing is this. People have to realize that this whole e-ball situation, the only way that I've studied that so much, from the movies to everything. It was something that scared us as kids. We were like, oh my gosh, or anybody who's read the Hot Zone book or knew anything about this, okay? It's nothing new. It's been around for a very long time. They tried it in 2015. You guys remember that, where the guy in Texas at the hospital, they were saying, oh, he had it, and they got him in the unit, and they think a doctor or a nurse got it, and they were trying to get you guys with that. So they were seeing how people reacted. That's what the big thing is too, is it's about the reactions, to see how people react to these certain types of things. But the less you can be manipulated by the reaction that they try to get out of you, just like with this cruise ship thing, I don't think that took the way they think it was going to take, and it backfired on them. So they're like, okay, we're gonna divvy over, we're gonna pivot over here to the e-ball and see what we can do with this, because it's always been something. It's like an anchor memory for people that they're like, oh my gosh, the movies, the books, everything, it's so bad. But here's the thing is, even in the movie Outbreak, it had to become this whole new thing to where, like, what I'm saying is, you can't have that, bring it over here to America and it just starts spreading around, because the way it works is, it has to be, you have to be on your bed almost unalived for it to spread to somebody. And even then, it's through droplets, it's through stuff like that. So if there is something going on, they say, oh, it's this new strain that is way different. I mean, the way they're pitching everything, for people that even slightly study virology, biology, they can see the BS and they can see the fear being pitched on people. We can see it from coming from a mile away. So it's really just fear-based more than anything. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get you guys to live in a perpetual state of fear. Because if you notice, before the whole sea event took place, there was uprisings in China. There was uprisings here. There was a Save the Children thing. That's what I've told you guys about this before. And before all that happened, okay, when all that was happening, the sea event happened, that all went away. Then it was all, oh, please, the Mr. Mr. Trump, Mr. whoever, please save us from this. Please give us our stimulus checks. We'll hide away. We promise we will. Just help us out. That's what they want. They want to bring you guys to your knees with fear so that you will rely solely on them. But that's all I want you guys to know is, now, hey, I could be completely wrong. Again, just my opinion. But I honestly am not going to let none of this affect me. My faith is in Jesus Christ. He tells me to fear not. The only fear I have is the fear of God. And I will not fear none of this. So up until whatever happens, however this plays out, I'm not going to be the one that's going to buy into it. And I suggest you guys don't either, because you'll see life is way more beautiful when you focus on the good things in life. Because even if something bad is going to happen, think about it. It would be an event you couldn't control anyways. So what would be the point of allowing it to control your mind and control your emotions and control everything around you? and it will end up destroying you and everything that's around you. So that's why it even proves it even more. Nobody can ever come at me and say, oh, you're just fear-mongering, you're fear-mongering. I never fear-monger. I try to give people the facts as much as I can. But if something is a legitimate, concern, I'm going to tell people. It's like somebody walking towards a cliff, and I know there's a cliff there, and I'm going to say, hey, just so you know, about 200 feet ahead of you, there's a drop-off. And, I'm just letting you know. If I see something that I think is a danger or an issue or a problem, I'm just going to let people know. But me personally, based on the research with what I'm seeing now, this is nothing but fear-based propaganda in order to control the masses. That's the easiest way to explain it. And that's why I love the fact that I named the podcast Eyes Open, because when these times come, and we're in those times right now, we need to have our eyes open more than we ever have to all of the manipulation that's going on. And people, because it's all about, like I said, it's all about a reaction that they're trying to get out of you. That's all it is. And see, they do it even more. If you're an influencer, you see this, okay? They want you angry. They want you scared. If you notice and you're an influencer, these bots that'll come on your page, they'll say mean things about you or other people in the comments, and they'll try to spark controversy to get people to argue. Because I'm telling you, it not only changes the frequency that people are vibing on, like the energy that you're emitting out, that they're sucking out of you. These people are like energy vampires that are sucking out of you. It's like staying around a toxic person too much. They'll just suck the good energy right out of you. They really will. So you have to not buy into it, because once you buy into it, they get you hooked. Once they get you hooked, they're just drawing you right in with it. So that's all I really hope for society at this point, that we've learned from the last event, so that therefore we don't allow this event to control us. We have to be strong. Now, like I said, don't listen to anything I say. Don't listen to anything I say. It's all I am is just a commentator. I'm just giving my opinion on the state of what I'm seeing everything at right now. And that's it. And I don't see anything productive coming out of people being in fear, but they're pushing it really hard. Because even the reports I'm seeing coming out today, they're saying, the WHO is saying it's going to be out of control globally. So they're trying to do it, and they're pushing it extra, extra hard. So all I can say to you guys is live with love in your heart, live close to your family, enjoy yourselves, enjoy your life, put God above everything. You ain't got nothing to worry about in that case. Because that's how I am. Even if something was bad coming my way, I know where I'm going when I die. How about you guys?